Hi, welcome back to Excel. We are working on Project 2. The spreadsheet is about Hypermass Online Storage's salary report. We've entered our data. We've done our basic formulas to find our taxes and our gross pay and net pay. And this is part 3 of the video. And in this one, we're going to be using the sum button and finding the average, the highest, and the lowest. So on your spreadsheet, we are ready to find our first total. Now, we already talked about that we don't need the total number of dependents because it's not going to make any difference to us how many dependents we have being claimed by our employees. So the first total that's going to be important is how many hours were worked during this pay period. So I'm going to go ahead and click in cell C13. And there's a couple ways I can do it. We've learned already on your home tab, you have your auto sum button. But I'm going to show you a different way to do this. Well, nope, sorry, this is the way it wants me to do it, is under auto sum, go ahead and hit the sum. It's going to highlight what it thinks we want to add. Make sure that's what you want to add. If it's not what you want to add, just then re-highlight the regular area, or range. But this is correct. We want to sum up C4 through C12. Remember from chapter 1 that the colon means through. So I'm going to press enter. Okay, the next thing I want to do is find, I don't really need to know what our hourly pay rate is. That's not going to be important to us in any kind of data. So I want to find the total gross pay that we paid out this pay period. And so we're going to learn some different ways to do things. So for the gross pay one, which is going to be in cell E13. Some of you have tried to do this before. You can actually go ahead and select what you're wanting to add before you add it. So I've selected it first, then I'm going to hit my auto sum, and it's going to put the answer below it. Wow, that was something new. It jumped over and did my state tax for me. That I've not ever seen happen before. So that must be something new in the feature. If it didn't do it for you, that's okay. We'll get to it. So for my federal tax, it says in our next set, we're going to select the cell to be copied, which is H12 right here. Because on this one, oops, we didn't do federal, sorry. We'll go back to the federal, which is F13, and we'll just go ahead and hit our auto sum. Either way, either you can select first or let it select for you. Make sure we get that one. That happened. Okay, I went ahead and filled in these numbers. I'm going to go ahead and delete those out because I'm not sure what it's doing. So make sure you've auto-summed your hours worked, your gross pay, your federal tax, your state tax. Now for your tax percentage, this one's going to be a little bit different. We don't want to add up these percentages because you can see here we've got a 24%, 26%, 25%, 24%, 24%. We're already over 100%, and we know we're not going over 100%. So this one we're going to do a little bit differently. We just need the same formula. And our formula that we had in cell H12, which was, if I double click on it, you can see it. We took our federal tax plus our state tax and divided by our gross pay. That's really what we want to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill that one down or copy it down one. So I can see as a total, out of all of our gross pay, 25% of that is going to federal and state taxes. Okay, so then for my net pay, I can just go ahead and do my auto sum. And if it did it for you, great. Okay, you do not want to sum up your dates because dates you can't really add together in a purpose like this. Okay, so we have all of our totals in. Next, we're going to determine the highest number in a range of numbers using the insert function box. So here's our auto sum, and we can see that we've got a max on here, but I'm going to show you a different way to do it. So I'm going to go where I want my answer, which is going to be the highest hours worked, or in C14 is where I want to be. And my insert function box is up here. It's this FX button, is insert function. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to come up with a new dialog box. And it's like, what are you really wanting to find? So max was up here, but what if we were wanting to do something that was not real common? So this is where you would find it. There is several different functions that you can use. It says over 400 additional functions. So I see max here, which is in the most recently used area, or probably the most popular. And if I click on that, it's going to tell me max. It's going to put in parentheses number 1, number 2, so on, and return the largest value in a set of values, and ignore logical values and text. So if there was a cell that had a word in it, it's going to ignore that. Now if max did not come up here, I can type in a description and find it that way, or I can look through some of the categories and find out, you know, is this a financial thing? Is it a statistical item? What kind of information is the max? So I could find it there, or up here I could just come in, and you have to delete what's in that box. I could type highest and hit go, and it should come back and hit max. And mine is still working. Oh, it didn't work. Of course not. Still didn't. What if I type in maximum? Maximum. Okay, there's my max. Okay, and so you can find it. Okay, once I have max here, I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to say, what is your first range of numbers? So we can enter in numbers individually or as a range. It is saying, do you want to use C4 through C13? Okay, to do that, I can come over here. This is my button that will actually, if I click it, this goes really small, and I can come over here and delete, or not delete, but highlight the information I want. Oops. And I'm going to want C4 through C12. It wanted to give me 13. 13 is a total. Well, I already know that my total would be the biggest number returned. So I want to make sure that whenever I'm finding my highest, my lowest, my averages, that I do not include my total or anything above it except for the information associated with my employees. I can hit this button here to bring that cell back up. And it says this is going to be 81.5. Now this is a small list of numbers. I could have looked through here and found the 81.5. But if this was large, I might just scan it and go, yeah, 81.5 looks like it's probably about the largest. And I'm going to hit OK to enter that formula in there. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to, oh, it's still telling me how to do that one. Okay, next I want to find the lowest for these, the lowest hours worked for my employees. So which employee had the lowest number of hours worked? This time I will be using the min function to determine that. So this one we decided we're going to go over here and use the auto sum just to show you that it's there. I'm going to hit min. It's going to highlight my numbers. Now again, it's including my total and my highest in this. Now I know that that is not what I want, so I need to re-highlight to just include cells C4 through C12, which is going to give me the hours worked for all my employees. Press enter. Okay, and finally I'm ready to find my average. And this time we're going to use the keyboard to do that. So if you type equal, Excel knows you're going to do some kind of formula or function. And I'm just going to start typing A, V, because I know average starts with a V. Oh, look, there it pops it up. Are you wanting to do the average? There's several different averages, but we just want the regular average. If I click on it, or double click it, I guess, it's going to bring up the average, and it's going to go ahead and put in my first parenthesis, and it's like, what do you want to find the average of? Well, I want to find it of C4, so I'm going to type C4, colon. Now for the colon, you have to press your shift key to get that, and I want that to go through C12. So I'm going to type C12. Because I have an open parenthesis, I have to have a closed one. And you notice it's going to highlight that selection for me so I can double check and make sure that looks right. And I will press enter. So we've learned 3 different ways to enter in this information. We can use the AutoSum key, we can use the insert function key, or we can simply start typing it. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is, because we have learned that one of our best friends is to use the autofill. So I'm just going to select C14 through C16. Remember to select, you have to use your white plus sign. Come down to my autofill, which is my lower right hand corner, is my black plus. And I'm going to drag that all the way through net pay. Now we've already okay, so we've got those are good. It did decide, I guess I missed this step, it wanted to have this information for the number of dependents. We wanted to know the highest, lowest, and average number of dependents of our employees, but we didn't need to know the total. So since we have skipped that row, what I can actually do is select C14 through C16. I'm going to copy that. So however you like to copy, you can right click, you can Control C, and I'm going to come over and click in cell B14, and then I'm going to paste. Okay, so it's going to paste those formulas. To get rid of that moving box around this, I just pressed my escape key. Okay, and so let me just double check, because we were skipping ahead and not following exactly what the book had. Okay, over here on the tax percentages, we got our total taxes, our highest, our lowest, and for some reason we do not want to have the average tax percentage. So we're just going to click in cell H16 and hit the delete key on our keyboard. Okay, go ahead and hit save. So we can save this, and it looks like we will be ready to stop this video, and then whenever we come back, we're going to do the formatting where we make it look good. So join us for the next video.